HDSLR Shooter. Brought to you by Adobe, Akidio, Adamus, Black Magic Design, Carl Zeiss, Shutterstock, and That Studio.
Hi, Clint with HDSLR Shooter here, continuing our coverage of Drone Expo 2014. I'm here with Lisa Ellmen, who is an attorney and working on the FFA situation with banning drones, I guess. Talk a little bit about it.
Sure. So I recently left the federal government where I was working on the domestic use of unmanned aircraft systems here in the United States at the Department of Justice. I'm now in private practice where I co-chair our firms McKenna, Long & Aldrich, a visionary firm who saw this booming industry coming and created an unmanned aircraft systems practice specifically focusing on all issues related to drones in our national airspace. We work closely with the Federal Aviation Administration, as you note. We're in a critical time for UAS policymaking right now here in the country and here in the United States, and it's we're working with folks, interested users, operators, manufacturers of drones who want to be involved with the public discussion and need to be involved with the public discussion in order to really move all this policy forward.
Yeah, and stay in business, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's not just filmmakers. This has become like a kind of a phenomenon with just enthusiasts utilizing these things.
Absolutely, and also in other industries such as precision agriculture, industrial uses such as power line inspection, flare stack inspection. We're going to see delivery, photography. There's so many different uses for these and so many benefits to the use of drones in our country that the country is really waking up to right now, in addition to, of course, getting one for Christmas and being able to go to the local park and take photos of yourself, as dronies, as they're called. But there's a lot of excitement around the use of drones right now, and so this is something that the federal government is hearing loud and clear and is actively working on right now.
The thing with what the FAA said, essentially you had to be a licensed pilot, which is extensive. It's a lot of training, a lot of money, and everything like that. How did they come to that conclusion?
The FAA regulates the safety and efficiency of the national airspace, and as part of that, they protect the national security of the United States. There are background checks that come as part of private license certification that they consider crucial to the whole licensing in terms of operations, licensing, and safety issues. And so right now we're hearing a lot of frustration, of course, from the drones community that operating an airplane and operating a drone are two very different things and involve very different skill sets. And I think that's absolutely common sense. And it's something that regulators completely understand as well. But the background check requirement is as part of the pilot's license, I think offers at least partly an explanation for why they're required.
There was a situation in Indiana where a drone flew into like a runway or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
so I've heard there have been lots of these instances of near misses, and there have been reports recently about near misses between airplanes and drones. And that's something that the FAA is, of course, very concerned about. And the worst thing for all of us, for both communities and the American people as well as the industry, would be for there to be some kind of accident like that. But what I like to tell people, and that's safety is of paramount concern, but at the same time, and so the stupid shouldn't be the enemy of the good. So there shouldn't be a reason that we close down the skies. In fact, it's a reason to really work hard on getting these rules out and having rules in place. And the other really important part of this is educating people. So we're having, now at holiday time, a lot of folks are really looking forward to getting their drone or giving a drone to their family at Christmas. It's important that all of us, there's a public education campaign out there so that we all know what the rules are, that we're not out there flying anywhere near airports or in any way that would endanger a jet aircraft, because of course that would be catastrophic for all of us.
Now, the FAA has made its rulings, and I think you were saying that the White House now has the opportunity to weigh in on that.
So it was a really critical step in the rulemaking process when late October the FAA sent its notice of proposed rulemaking. So there is a draft rule that is done, that is out there. It sent it over to the White House to review the costs and benefits of the proposed regulation. Now, the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs within the White House is the most important agency that nobody has ever heard of. But it's the agency within the White House that analyzes the costs and benefits of any proposed significant regulation. And right now, they're asking the hard questions. They're meeting with other White House officials. They're meeting with other interagency and the other federal agencies about the rule. And they're holding meetings with stakeholders. Anyone who has a thought about what they want to see in the proposed rule can go in right now and actually meet with the White House and tell them what they think the rule should look like. And so this is a great opportunity to be involved.
And how do they do that?
They would contact the White House directly and set up a meeting. And it's really that simple. And then go in there and talk about, it's a 30-minute listening session where the White House listens, and then we'll also ask questions. But you don't see a notice of the proposal, you don't see the actual draft rule, but it's an opportunity to talk and engage on and say, this is what I think should be the case with pilot's licenses, for example. This is my experience. This is how I propose. This is how I'm really excited to see the rulemaking go quickly, because this is what my business is, and we can't wait to be able to fly. And so it's a great opportunity to just express exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it, and educate the White House as well as the FAA, the Department of Transportation, as they're looking to regulate this area, educate folks about the industry and about how explosive it's going to be.
Does Congress get a chance to come in on this whole deal?
So the next step will be the White House will send the notice of proposed rulemaking back to the FAA. The FAA will incorporate any comments and then release it to the public, and then we'll all be able to see it, and then there will be an extensive public comment period during which all of us should be ready and excited to issue or to send in our public comments on what the rule, what you like about the rule and also what you don't like about the rule. And we just heard this week at a congressional hearing that it's likely that would be probably sometime in 2017 before we get a proposed rule, or a final rule in place. Now that said, if you're a corporation or a company looking to fly in the national airspace in the meantime, the FAA has provided a mechanism called a 333 exemption, where you're essentially requesting from the FAA permission to operate drones in the national airspace in this confined set of circumstances in a way that benefits the public safety and kind of is an equivalent level of safety of operating an aircraft. Think federal aviation regulations say things like you have to have a manual on board an aircraft. Obviously, that doesn't make sense for a drone at all. You're telling the FAA, this is how I'm going to be, this is, I can't have a manual on board the aircraft, but it'll be with the pilot who's operating it below. But you're asking for formal permission from the FAA to be able to fly, and we've already seen the 7 filmmakers who've been approved to fly and can now operate here in in our continental United States. And then you also have a new set of industrial applications that were approved this week, and so this actually is very appropriate to be here right now in LA, because it's been a critical week on UAS policymaking in a good way.
Beyond the personal liberties of people, this is going to affect an industry that has cropped up over the course of the last 2 or 3 years and potentially knock out jobs. Because if only a handful of people are going to be, able to operate this, then it doesn't make sense to do them in mass production. So this is really crucial, right?
So it's absolutely critical, but I do think that this is an iterative process, and so it will evolve. And but what I can say is that policymakers are really open and wanting to make the best decisions. They're trying to be flexible, but they really do need information from the industry about what makes sense and why.
So I'm the average drone guy. What do I do to help push this along so that people can hear my voice?
Yeah, so the key really, when I was a White House policymaker, I found that the most effective groups from the outside were organized. So this LA Drone Expo is a perfect opportunity to organize with other folks who have similar concerns and similar interests, and then speak with both folks in the legislature here within California, folks in Congress, but then also with the executive branch. And I'm happy to help with that, but the idea is that reaching out and being proactive. And I talked earlier about the need for policymakers to promote innovation, but it's a two-way street. We need innovators to support policymakers as well. I call that polivation. And the idea is that technology often moves way more quickly than policymaking. We need to help policymakers have the right information so that they can do the job that they're asked to do in a thoughtful and but also kind of expedited way in this case.
So is there a certain website where people can go to get more educated and where they should voice their opinions?
Absolutely. So my law firm, McKenna, Long & Aldrich, has an excellent blog that we blog almost every day on issues related to UAS, policy, the latest that's going on with policy, and that's www.plainlyspokenblog.com, PLANELY, spokenblog.com, and we're updating that blog almost every day with the new policy developments and things that are going on with the federal government, and including detailing exactly how folks can lend their voice and be involved.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you, Clint.
HDSLR Shooter. Brought to you by Adobe, Akidio, Adamas, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, Shutterstock, and That Studio.